General Manager, I beg your pardon, did I just reduce your rank? Please forgive me. General Manager, 3 Sports, is with us. Michael, good to see you.
Good to see you.
I saw your commentary yesterday, and it was an absolute summary of what we saw yesterday. But if you had to go over it this morning again, are you feeling any different?
No, I really do think that it's one of the darkest days in Ghana football. Maybe we are jumping the ship because the qualifiers are not done and everything. But you notice that people like Collins, myself, a lot of the journalists with a good understanding of the implication of this have been speaking about this a lot. The Nations Cup used to be the sort of thing that we walk in, you know. Then all of a sudden, it's become the competition that we can buy a win in when we qualify for the tournament. We went to the last one, we didn't win. And then it's also become now the competition that we cannot qualify for. So it's pretty bad. I think the biggest fear, and maybe it was summarized best for us by Oti Adjei when he spoke on Onia Sports after the match yesterday, when he said that the biggest danger is that we are sinking so low that it will take an almighty struggle to come back. And when I reflected about it a lot this morning, my thoughts were that if you're not careful, this could become what's happened to us at club level, where Asante Kotoko and House of Folk used to be the really big
and they are totally out now.
And now, you know, we can't even get a team to qualify for the group stages of the Champions League. So it's a real danger, and I hope that something changes a bit quickly.
Many people are arguing that at this point, forget about the AFCON. Don't even go. What do you say?
No, I don't think that's what you do in sports. In sports, you can't switch on and switch off. So for purposes of the confidence of the players, it's important that in the next 2 games, they try to qualify. You've got to step forward. It's a bit like you're doing New Day. You can't come in and say that today doesn't have peak viewers, so you're going to let your leg off the gas, and then tomorrow, because it's a Monday and the issues, you need to be in a certain rhythm, and you need to be in the rhythm of winning. You even need to be in a bigger rhythm of winning if you're a team that's won 2 matches this year, if you're a team that has failed to beat Sudan over 2 games, failed to beat Niger, failed to beat Angola, if you're a team that has sunk to its lowest FIFA ranking in over 20 years at 70th, you need the win. The wins in these games are not just a matter of qualifying for the Nations Cup. From the way we are going, we probably will be starting qualifiers for tournaments in the first round. So our players will be playing more games, our seeding will be dropping. We will now be going into qualifying groups with the likes of Morocco, Algeria, and the rest. Everything about it is dependent on winning games. And if we're not able to, and you know the way people smooth this. I mean, I'm struck by how calm Otto Addo was when I met him in June. But I met him off the back of 2 wins against Mali and Central African Republic. Then I was struck by his attitude when he was at the press conference following the loss to Sudan. He was easily irritated by the questions. You know, I don't know how anybody gets angry when people ask them to give them assurance whether they will win, but he managed to get angry by that question. There is just so much at stake in it that it affects the confidence of the coach, the confidence of the players, the ranking of the team. Even where you are ranked affects the movement of your players when they are changing clubs and the rest. So it's not just something that you can easily forget about and then decide one moment to switch back. And this is also why it's dangerous. We have a habit as a nation of going long spells. Those of you who are younger are a bit lucky, so you can, you've seen the Black Stars go to every tournament. But this is the same team that we missed out when we were exited the Nations Cup in '84, and then we missed out on the Nations Cup in 1986. We didn't qualify for '88, we didn't qualify for 1990, we didn't qualify 86, 88, 1990, and until we had Bukar Caesar take us to 92 off the back of that team. We were lucky in 2004, we had a crop of players available and ready. And I think that's maybe the good thing about this time. In 2004, we had a 2001 squad ready. And then we went to the Nations Cup in Mali, and it didn't work out real well. But we had started a real building process, and then we turned it all around. So we brought Anthony, this goalkeeper, and sat back when Grunsaf infamously said we had taking a 40-year-old goalkeeper to Rwanda to go and lose. Mainly, the plans that we had set in motion by bringing in Michael Essien, John Pencil, John Mensah, Derek Watson, and others to build the nucleus of the team. Because we didn't do well at the Nations Cup, we put it aside, brought a lot of the old guys back, and then didn't qualify for the Nations Cup. And then when we regrouped, we qualified for the World Cup, we qualified for the Nations Cup, and then we went on a run of qualifying for the semi-finals of every Nations Cup until 2017. So we have to play this right. We need to ask serious questions of the players. I was chatting to Stephen Appiah this morning. Everybody is despondent, but we need to play this right. We have a right to ask questions of the players. I don't think their commitment level is good enough. I don't think their application of energy on the field has been there. Nobody can convince me that failing to clear the ball first time is a systemic problem. It's not. It's a basic lack of concentration and decision-making on the pitch. And that is as much a function of the player as it's a function of the coach.
I would want to ask a question. It's going to both of you.
All right.
So this is just the AFCON, the qualifiers to the AFCON, and this is where we are right now.
Yeah.
Should we still keep Otto Addo for our World Cup qualifying attempt, if I can call it that way? Should we keep him?
I'm a bit indifferent to that, I have to be honest with you. I think that is a big indictment on any coach if you can't beat Sudan in 2 matches, if you can't beat Niger, if you can't beat Angola. It doesn't matter whether you started the World Cup qualifiers great, won 2 games and all that. Another part of me says that maybe it will get well. I think, and I like something Colin said when he mentioned context, because context is so important. I think the best and worst thing that happened to Ghana football in the last few years was qualifying for the 2022 World Cup. It masked all our problems. Yeah. It created this image of Otto Addo within the corridors of the Ghana football, especially in the eyes of the major decision, because I know a lot of the executive committee members didn't agree with his return. But it's created this image of him in the eyes of the Football Association. The two most important people, Mark Addo and Keto Kreku, Mark is the vice, of a guy who can do no wrong. But we all forget that we qualified with 2 draws, a nil draw and a 1-1 draw. Yeah. Afterwards, this team has become too much struggle to win a game, too many difficulties. And I think the most important thing is, I think if you watch the way we conceded against Angola and Kumasi, final minute of the game, defender can't clear the ball properly. It drops literally, and luckily I had a back post seat. He was trying to clear the ball and he can't clear. It was a defensive error against Niger. We conceded 2 goals to defensive errors. It's not just individual players' problem. It's a coaching problem. It's a systemic problem. It's a concentration problem. It's a game management problem. There's so much. Either they are playing too much of a high line, so they get caught out easily.
Michael, you've mentioned a million of problems.
I know, but it's
millions.
I'm just trying to suggest that. I'm suggesting that the games that we have played in recent weeks, in the last 2 months, that's not giving me a lot of confidence in the direction of Otto Addo. Plus, this is not like the Nigeria game where you're playing one off against your biggest rival with all the emotions pent up in it. We are going to have to repeat this against Mali. We are going to have to repeat this against the other teams in the group. And I don't know how that will work out, to be honest.
What will be your last words before we say goodbye?
I think that we should brace up for some pretty difficult times with the Black Stars. I was joking with the boys, Bill and the other boys, that I was lucky to cover the Black Stars maybe at his best period.
Yeah, you did though, because in these times
you're
it's not really
for
good.
World Cups, you're reaching the semi-finals of every Nations Cup. It was just like a really good time. But this is also a good time because it's a good time for great journalism. It's a good time for incisive coverage of a team. It's a good time for good analysis of the space. And I hope that as a team we can rise up to it. But I hope that as a country, we would understand that there's a lot at stake. Colin says something important. You can decide whether to postpone it now or keep it later. I think November up to next March gives us a lot of time. The GFA will have a decision to make, and I hope they make the right one for the future of the team. Because in as much as I think that there are systemic problems at the FA that needs to be corrected, that is an elected position and you just can't get rid of him. The easiest one to solve, players, coaches, and the rest, and we will have a major decision to make in November.
Michael, thank you very much. He's the General Manager, 3 Sports, and together with Bill, they brought us all the latest in the world of sports. Bill, You owe me a lot.
Has he been a good boy?
He's been a good boy, but he's been lying. The other day, the Thursday match, you said it was going to be what?
I was predicting
But he was lying about it because he knew what was going to happen. Yesterday, it was what, 3-1?
If he knew what was going to happen, he would be a rich man from betting.
Yeah, yeah.